Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Between Two Friends. And literally, this time I am between two friends. We have with us today very special guests, Ricardo and Annalith Trios, and they are the proprietors of Cow Chocolates here in Miami. Very excited to have them because not only do they have just such a neat, special business to the Miami community, but their business has changed so much since last March when COVID hit. Ricardo and Annalith, we tried to get you guys on before Valentine's Day, but now we're recording the day after, so we didn't quite time it. But I know you guys are really busy during that season, so I hope it was good for you, and welcome.
Thank you very much, Brett. And yes, like I said, it was a bit challenging to record this before Valentine's, but now we're good to go.
90% of your requests for Valentine's come within like 48 hours before, right? Because everybody waits.
The Valentine's Day is the most unpredictable day of the year for us. You never know when it's enough. You never know if you ever have enough chocolates. It is crazy. It's crazy. That's why, we get invited to so many events on Valentine's Day, and I always have to say no to many of them just because you cannot anticipate how busy you're gonna be.
Yeah, usually the 15th, the day after Valentine's, is always crazy because there's a lot of people that forget about Valentine's Day. So
tell us about how Cow Chocolates started. Of course, I know the story, but tell our listeners, where did you guys come up with the idea? How long ago?
Yeah, Cow Chocolates. It was actually founded in 2009. So it's been a while. It was a hobby. We're both from Venezuela, so we used to like good quality chocolate. When we moved here, American chocolate wasn't the best taste for me. So it was like an accident. I started just making chocolates for fun and just to eat something better. And it turned to a hobby, and then the hobby turned to a business. I mean, in 2009. So it was a real career change behind our accounting background.
And when did you get to the U.S.?
October 16, 2004.
Tell me about what it's like to only be in a new country for 5 years and say, we're opening a business. Let's go for it.
Well, the funny thing about that is like I didn't plan to open this business. It was like a sweet accident, I will say. So I was very happy working as an accountant in a software developing company in Doral. I needed a change. I never expected that the change was going to be that I was going to get laid off and I was going to end up making chocolates. But the plan of immigrant entrepreneur came because I went to many job interviews in those couple of months before I decided, you know what, I'm going to take a leap of faith and I'm going to see what's going to happen with Cow Chocolates. And funny enough, now I look back and I said, I have an HR background too. Why did I answer that? But the common answer for me was when they asked me, when do you see yourself in 10 years? I always say the same thing, just running my own business, just having my own business, running my own show. Clearly, nobody hired me because they knew that at some point I was gonna take off. I was gonna go solo, or I was gonna start a business, and that's what happened basically.
In United States, a little bit easier to create a business. In Venezuela, to open register a business it can take you 5-10 years. The legal part is horrible.
Legal structure is a mess.
Yeah.
It's a mess.
So here is super easy, and we had all the resources. You can register your own company by yourself. You can create your own website.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You don't need a lot of people to open a business.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, let's do it.
Look, if you have the courage to take the leap and start your own business, then sure, you deserve a congratulations. But especially for a law firm, all you need is a laptop, really. And so the like starting is one thing, but it's staying with it and building, that's harder throughout, because just starting it, you just do it, right? You make a decision and you go for it.
Yeah.
So, you guys you've had several different locations, and now you don't have any physical locations because you've pivoted, and I believe business is better than ever. And so I'm excited to ask you guys about that. How you guys decided to go from storefront to completely virtual.
As much as we love the customers in that location, it was very challenging to continue growing there, as far as machinery, as far as I mean, you may know, and some of our regular friends that are probably watching this video may know that when you walk into Kawa Chocolates, in the holiday season or Valentine's season, it was boxes everywhere. I mean, we're a 300 square feet store with production included, so it was half and half. And like I always say, you know, I have like a love-hate relationship with that because I wanted to grow, I wanted to expand and taking bigger and better accounts with larger equipment. So when COVID happened, I knew that we had to add fast, and it was kind of helpful that my lease was coming to an end. So I had a couple of months there to realize and think about that, and I was already in conversations with my landlord. He thought that, you know, he had a premium location, and then all of a sudden I realized, you know what, we are changing the pattern of how consumers are acting through this pandemic. So people are afraid they're staying home. I don't want to take the risk of probably, you know, staying here over the summer, which summer for chocolates in Florida, it's already challenging. So I said, you know what, I'm not gonna stay here for another summer. So let's see what's gonna happen. And funny enough, you know, as people started just ordering online or through the phone, I grabbed my phone and I called a couple of friends that they own restaurants and commercial kitchens. I said, you know what, I'm thinking about this. They say, yes, come over, do this. And boom, we switch really, really fast to online platform.
You know, storefront, you need a lot of foot traffic, right? But if you can move products commercially so that you can ship more at a time to grocery stores, for example, and restaurants, that, you know, that could be advantageous. And I've been around town looking at a dessert menu, you know, seeing like, oh, Kawa Chocolates, you know, is on the menu. And I always get so excited when I see that. But you guys are also in grocery stores. So, you know, what is that side of the business like for you, and how hard is it to create those relationships?
You know, what happens with COVID is like pretty much everything stopped. So hotels, restaurants, they switch. I mean, at some point they were closed. They were shut down for months. Then they switched personnel, executive chefs, pastry chefs. I mean, they were laid off. Cafes, restaurants, they still carry our products. And Milam's Market, which is one of the biggest and oldest account, you know, throughout Miami, they're great supporters.
Yeah. And how to open those accounts is not easy. You have to
chase them.
Yes, chase them. And then networking and, you know, get into the loop of the famous people in Miami. You know, it's not easy to get the wholesale account, but in this city I think we are part of that changing, that everybody now take care more about the locals, and the big hotels wants the local and showcase the local businesses.
So what about post-COVID? So suddenly you're doing online events, right? And where did that come from? How did it develop? And, you know, Ricardo, you've told me, you know, business is as good as it's ever been, I think, and I hope, because of how you guys were able to transition and change. So tell me about that.
We had a physical tasting scheduled with one of our mutual friends, Vanessa Vasquez, back in March 2020 at her office. So it was a chocolate and wine pairing. That was the Monday before the lockdown. She called her after, you know, a week, and she said, what are we going to do? Is there any way that we can do this online? And obviously she comes to me and I said, like, what the hell? But I don't like to say no. So I always do, you know what, just give me until tomorrow. So probably I sit down in my patio and I'll have a scotch and I'll think over and I'll have an answer.
Right.
So that's what I did. So I came up with this virtual chocolate tasting experience where we focus on corporate. We deliver to you the chocolate tasting kit to your attendees. We're able to ship nationwide, and we connect via Zoom. By that moment, I didn't even know what Zoom was.
Yeah.
Now, almost a year later, we're proud to say that we've had over 6,000 attendees in our chocolate tastings. We ship to pretty much every single state in the U.S.
Including Alaska, Hawaii,
yes.
Puerto Rico.
We've had some international tastings too. So we've managed for a large corporation here in the U.S. to include participants in other states, in other countries. I'm sorry.
Those countries are Dubai,
Australia, New Zealand.
Yeah.
London,
few
London,
countries in
Spain.
Europe.
Yes.
That's look
It has
it,
been crazy.
Canada is like our best friend right now.
Yes, we are exporting chocolate to Canada.
Yeah.
I've of course been part of several of them. And the concept is if I'm an attendee, right, I'm invited by somebody who wants to host one, then you guys will ship chocolate to my house in a package. And then I show up at, 7 p.m., whatever it is, designated, and you guys have the chocolate organized by region and you walk us through, why it's made and how it's made and the different tastes and flavors, aromas, and really everything. Did I miss anything? Because I just want people to understand how much fun this is.
No.
Yeah, you're hired.
You hire, man. You can be part of the marketing team. No, definitely. I mean, the only requirement of the tasting is relax and have fun. Basically, you connect with friends, family, or co-workers, or even prospects. I mean, we do this a lot with prospects right now. I think it's really good to share as well the places that we source the cacao beans from. I mean, all the impact that we're trying to do with the farmers, working with them directly and paying a better fare and trying to help them to make a better living. That I think that's the wrap of every single one of my tastings, and it's like a social responsible moment for them to understand that the stories behind the chocolate can be real too.
Oh yeah, the whole thing is so much fun. Tell us how, if someone's listening and they say virtual chocolate tasting, that sounds amazing. How does somebody locate you? How would they get in touch with you guys?
info@cowchocolates.com is the best way. You can go to our website, cowchocolates.com. I mean, we have a regular chocolate tasting, but we've been able to transform this idea into many other type of events based on every client's requirement. From customizing the packaging all the way to incorporate different products and talk about specific things that they like within their event.
Yeah, and you can do these kind of chocolate tastings for friends, for family, for business, for clients, for social groups, for civic groups. I mean, there's so many different ways that because I hope we're on the tail end of coronavirus, but virtual events aren't going away because they're so convenient, and if you have people spread out all over the US, it's such a great way to bring people together and be able to do something, fun as opposed to, I don't know, everybody get on Zoom and let's just talk about whatever.
Extremely large companies with teams in pretty much every state of the US. And I get to some point with the virtual tastings, they realize that, it can even be cheaper to bring something to your team, to have fun with your team, because not necessarily everybody's going to be able to travel certain times of the year to the office or get together. So these online events, I agree with you, aren't going anywhere.
Yeah.
And with this company, I think we've done at least 20 events already.
Wow.
We can have fun, and that's what it's all about. So as far as on the human resources side, you can do like a team building events, more like a team engagement parties, etc., even through Zoom. So
yeah,
you can help with that too.
Annalise, Ricardo, thank you so much for hopping on. I know this is a very busy time of the year for you guys, but I mean, the day after Valentine's, you guys are still working hard, but it's nice to have the two of you, as we all know, the sweetest couple in Miami, joining us for our Between Two Friends episode. So thank you guys so much, and all continued success for you guys moving forward.
Awesome. No, thank you very much for the invitation. Okay.
Awesome, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
Take care. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.